When 72-year-old Martha gave her last dollar to a homeless man, she never imagined he was actually a billionaire CEO hiding from his past, and that her small act would rewrite both their futures. The autumn wind whipped through Central Park, rustling the golden leaves around Martha's worn orthopedic shoes. At 72, the widow's joints ached with every gust, but she still came daily to her bench, the one with the plaque reading "In memory of beloved Henry." Today was different. Through her fogged glasses, she spotted a disheveled man slumped on the neighboring bench, his tailored suit wrinkled and expensive shoes scuffed. "Hungry?" Martha rasped, offering her last dollar, the one she'd saved for tomorrow's apple. The man stared hollow-eyed at the bill. "Why would you?" "Because everyone deserves dignity," she said simply. As Martha shuffled away, the man, actually tech mogul Daniel Whitman, watched her disappear, the dollar burning in his hand. He'd come to the park to drown himself after his embezzlement scandal, but this stranger's kindness had sliced through his despair. Meanwhile, Martha returned to her tiny apartment, her stomach rolling but heart full. She didn't know the CCTV cameras near her building's dumpster had captured her nightly ritual, digging through trash to find edible scraps, always saving the best bits for the stray cat she called Mr. Whiskers. Nor did she know Daniel was now showing her photo to every park vendor. Voice breaking as he asked, "Have you seen this angel?" The night grew colder, both unaware their lives were about to collide forever. Daniel sat frozen in his penthouse office, Martha's dollar carefully preserved under glass on his desk. His assistant Emily gaped at security footage showing Martha retrieving moldy bread from a dumpster. "She gave you her last dollar while starving herself," Emily whispered. Daniel's voice cracked. "Find her, now." Meanwhile, Martha huddled under thin blankets, whispering to Mr. Whiskers about her late husband Henry. He'd have liked that young man, she mused. Unaware detectives were scanning the city. At dawn, a knock startled her. "Miss Martha Collins?" asked a detective, holding a photo of her feeding the cat. "Mr. Whitman needs to see you." Trembling, Martha was escorted to a gleaming skyscraper. The elevator doors opened to reveal Daniel, clean-shaven but eyes red-rimmed. "You're the homeless man," Martha gasped. "No," Daniel choked out, sinking to his knees. "I'm the CEO who stole millions until you showed me what real worth is." He pressed a locket into her hand. Inside were photos of Henry from Martha's lost wedding album, recovered from a pawn shop. "How?" "Because when someone saves your life," Daniel said, tears falling, "you learn everything about them." Martha's wrinkled hands straddled his face as her own tears fell. In that moment, two broken souls recognized the family they'd both been missing. Daniel paced his penthouse, Martha's wedding album open on the coffee table. "We need to do more than find her, we need to restore her dignity," he told Emily. Meanwhile, Martha stared at her tiny kitchen, now filled with gourmet meals Daniel had sent. "This is too much," she fretted to Mr. Whiskers. At Whitman Technologies, Daniel shocked shareholders by announcing we're establishing the Henry Collins Foundation to combat senior poverty. Reporters clamored until Daniel revealed Martha's photo. "This woman saved me with a dollar, now I'll spend millions saving others." The story went viral. Martha's neighbor Mrs. Jenkins saw the news and rushed over. "You're famous," she showed Martha the broadcast. Horrified, Martha grabbed her coat. "I need to stop him," she muttered, shuffling toward Whitman Tower. But her frail body gave out on the subway stairs. A young nurse recognized her from TV. "Mrs. Collins," she cried, catching Martha as she fainted. At the hospital, doctors scolded Martha for malnutrition. "But others need help more," she protested weakly. That's when Daniel burst in, still wearing his press conference mic. The room heard his choked words, "Please let me care for you like you cared for me." Across America, seniors watched live as Martha finally nodded, her hand trembling in Daniel's. Martha's worn slippers sank into the plush carpet of Daniel's penthouse. "This is too grand," she protested as he wheeled her to a sunlit suite decorated with violets, Henry's favorite flower. "Nothing's too good for you," Daniel said, showing her the adjoining room where Mr. Whiskers now had a velvet bed. That evening, Martha gasped as Daniel cooked her first home-cooked meal in decades. "Henry's beef stew recipe," she exclaimed, tasting the familiar spices. Daniel smiled shyly. "I hired chefs to recreate it from his notes." As autumn turned to winter, the unlikely pair found rhythm, morning crossword puzzles, afternoon visits to Henry's bench, evenings watching old movies. One night, Martha found Daniel weeping before Henry's portrait. "He reminds me of my father," Daniel confessed, revealing his childhood in foster care. Martha upped his face. "You're home now." Meanwhile, the Henry Collins Foundation flourished, converting abandoned buildings into senior centers with adjoining cat shelters. On Christmas Eve, Martha stood before Whitman Technologies employees, her voice strong. "Kindness isn't about money, it's seeing someone's worth." As the crowd erupted, Daniel surprised her with a plaque, "Martha Collins Wing." That night, as snow fell over Central Park, Martha placed Henry's photo beside Daniel's on her nightstand, her two beloved boys, together at last. 5 years later, Martha's silver hair shone under spring sunlight as she cut the ribbon for the 100th Henry Collins Senior Center. Beside her, Daniel beamed with pride, now legally her adopted son. Mr. Whiskers, though slower, still patted after Martha everywhere. Reporters asked Martha her secret to happiness. "Just see people," she said simply, squeezing Daniel's hand. That night, as 80-year-old Martha dozed in her favorite chair, Daniel read aloud Henry's old love letters. When he noticed her peaceful silence, his breath caught. The next morning, all Whitman buildings lowered their flags. At the funeral, thousands of seniors Martha had helped stood holding violets. Daniel's eulogy went viral. "She taught me wealth isn't in banks, but in kindness given away." Years later, an elderly Daniel could still be found on Henry's bench, feeding stray cats and telling stories to wide-eyed children. Once, he began, "A wonderful woman taught a lost man that love is the only currency that matters." And though Martha's apartment was preserved as a museum, neighbors swore they sometimes saw faint light there late at night, as if a kind soul was still checking that no one went hungry.